Come
What's up?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How is everybody doing tonight? We're finally here. StreamYard was being a little bitch, so we had to tell it to let us back on.
Yes.
And we are here, and I am back, and happy to be here with my beautiful friends from Late Night Snacks to
No, other way.
other way.
There you
Over there is the beautiful Mr. Wanda.
Hey, everybody.
Down here, we have that guy.
What are we doing? What's up?
And we all just watched for the first time in like a year. We haven't had anything to watch for how long? Oh my God.
Year and a half.
2 years.
A year and a half. And first of all, we want to tell you, if you have not watched these episodes, we're talking about if we like them or not. You will have spoilers. So we're going to give you 3 seconds to opt out if you don't want to hear about the episode and what we think. So you have 1, 2, 3. Spoilers ahead.
Yep.
So I haven't been around for a while. I want to wait till the end. And I have a feeling that guy has a very strong opinion that I think is different than mine.
I'm sure.
As
you guys already pegged it, huh?
Let's say hello to everybody. They've been waiting for us patiently.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, he's in the chat.
I see it. Bees, as always, our lovely BRT is here. And Debbie.
Debbie is here. Clay.
And Clay. Hi, Clay.
Hi, Clay.
Alicia, I don't know if you're still hanging out.
Yeah.
Hey, Alicia.
Where'd it
Oh,
go?
my God. Mwah. It's so good to see you. Blaze. Hi, Blaze.
What?
Hold
No.
up.
Hold
Where
on.
did you go?
Who knows?
Why are
You're
you?
in a void.
Try again.
In some void. I don't know.
Yes, Blaze,
All right.
we are going to have spoilers. We're talking about if we liked the new platform, the new show. It is 100% different and the same. So
Yeah.
if you don't want to, Raven 29945, hello to you.
What's up?
I hope everybody's doing good tonight.
Yep.
Yes, Debbie says it was manna in the desert.
It was what?
Manna in the desert. It has been
Too long.
2 freaking years, other than shows that have nothing to do. Ryan's still hanging around. Ryan's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But to have an actual American Horror Story. And yes, Miss Melinda is in our hearts.
Yes.
Like I have been gone and doing shit. She's doing shit tonight. She'll be here. She'll be back, next week or whatever.
Yeah.
So
she's just.
I would like you guys also, as we're talking about it, please comment in the chat now. Did you like this?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied? Are you happy? Or do you think this is not what you want to see? Honestly, it's such a different type of a story. One with a beginning, a middle, and an end that doesn't last for 8 fucking hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't.
So you guys let us know, and we're going to read your comments as we comment. So you, Mohawk Man, you go first.
You really want me to piss all over everybody's party?
You can. You know what? You can piss it all over it, and I'm going to wash it all off.
That was utter crap.
That was deja vu all over again.
A disaster. It was that was just there was nothing original. There was nothing surprising. If this had been the start of American Horror Story, fine. It was great. It was fun. It was entertaining, but there was nothing original about it. We were promised a new anthology series that was original stories, things that we've never seen before. Every single moment of that was predictable. Every single moment that we have seen before. Only it's just different actors playing different stories. That is crap.
I guess I liked it. If the answer is obvious, Michael liked it. No, he didn't.
No, I mean I did. It was fine for what it was. But did I like it as an American Horror Story? This new thing that was promised to us? No, because that's what wasn't what was promised to us.
It's the same stuff.
That was fan service. That was utter fan service. Is all it was.
Absolutely, he wanted us to know. He was back. He put us in a familiar territory. I don't think you could have understood the story if you hadn't watched Murder House.
No, you couldn't have. That was everything we were.
This was for us, and we should take it as a big thank you. He got some great characters, some really deep, fucked up people.
But what was the point?
Yeah, but I wanted him to go a different direction because he.
I want something new.
But he will next week.
He originally.
Are we going to see now? Now I don't trust the show. See, that's the thing. I don't trust the show now.
Was supposed to be like urban legends and stuff like that.
Right, but Murder House in itself is an urban legend.
No, it's not. It's a hellmouth.
Yeah, it's a hellmouth for the thing.
No,
but it could be an
urban
legend too.
Saying during the episode,
just,
that's why I keep calling her Cindy Crawford Jr., but that's why Kaya kept saying, Ruby kept saying she was going to go to Murder House to kill herself because everybody in LA knows what Murder House is. Mm-hmm. That's the reason they bought the house. That's the reason they were there. They thought it was total bullshit.
But there was nothing surprising. There was nothing, like the original twist of Murder House was so shocking, was so surprising that the first season that we saw it. If we had seen this as the first episode of the original all of American Horror Story, it would have been just as exciting or just as shocking. But the same thing, it's the same. It was the same story. It was the exact same story, just told a different way. So it was like, if you want to do a show like that, say, hey, we're gonna tell you guys the same stories but told in a different way. Grab your seatbelts. This is gonna be fun. I'd have been all over for that. But that's
so
not what
put Debbie's up there.
That's not what we were promised.
That's the point of the series. It's supposed to be answering questions. Too bad you wanted something new. That's not the series. Ryan promised exactly what he delivered. I'm just reading the comments.
No, he didn't. But Ryan promised something new. What Ryan promised us originally when they announced the spinoff series was he wanted to give us the anthology series that was promised in the beginning from American Horror Story.
But I think
different, all unique story every week with a troupe of actors, and they were all going to be one-offs and they were all going to be original. There was nothing original about this. There was nothing one-off about this. There was nothing of the original promise. Now, was there anything wrong with the show itself or the acting or the story? No, absolutely not. It was fine. It was it was watchable for 2 hours, but it's not what was promised.
It's so funny.
It's not. This is not an anthology series. This is fan service to another series that we love. This could have been Apocalypse. I mean, this was a better story than Apocalypse. This was better fan service than Apocalypse.
Yeah, but see, I disagree. I liked Apocalypse. I had no problem with it.
You guys know me, and I'm going to say this every single week. I hate fan service. I absolutely despise fan service because if you want a franchise so bad, go make your own. You don't own somebody else's franchise. I hate how fans try and control something.
I was actually thinking that they might show who's actually in the rubber man suit because we still don't know.
It's Tate.
It's Tate.
Yeah, but then how did he end up in the bunker in Apocalypse?
Because Apocalypse makes no damn sense. That's why. I mean, they could have taken this opportunity to answer those questions, but yeah, they didn't answer any lingering questions that were left from Murder House or Apocalypse.
Well, but Murder House was a long time ago. I think they just kind of because these two episodes, Brad and Ryan wrote themselves. The other episodes we're going to see, I don't think they wrote them. I just looked at like the last four. Just like the people who wrote this are not American Horror Story writers. The ones who are writing the other ones,
which is fine.
Like, I think that these first two were just like to say it's been 2 years. Let me take you back to a familiar place and show you some really fucked up characters, which, I mean, the characters in this show, it was like a Mean Girls on steroids. It was totally Ryan.
I don't know.
Totally Ryan.
Were fine. The characters were absolutely fine. And the relationships of the characters were fine. But why did those characters have to be, first off, why does the characters have to have all the same names as everybody else in American Horror Story? That's a mind fuck. That's just like, okay, that's just trying to be.
What do you mean?
To be cute. Every single person's name in that series was another character in American Horror Story.
Who's Maya?
Wasn't Maya the wife of the original the family that came in at the end of American Horror Story 1? The first season? Wasn't Maya the wife?
No, that was.
You mean
that was Nora?
People that moved in at the end?
Yeah, at the end. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah. I think that was Maya.
Who's Ruby?
Oh no, I have to go back through.
Characters, but he loves.
No, they were all names.
Were familiar. But still,
it was fucks with your head when you're listening to people call each other names in a familiar setting like that. It's just and I don't mind that trick, because Stephen King did the same thing with Desperation and Regulators. It's fine, but these characters, like you said, these characters were great, and this whole Mean Girl story was great. Why did we have to do it in the story of Murder House.
Because it had to remind you, you can go out on Halloween. The murder house is going to be there forever. He was Murder House was like, what, a long time ago.
Murder
Yeah,
House
but
was
Apocalypse wasn't.
2011.
Apocalypse was
And
just
there's a whole
revisited
bunch
Murder
of
House.
people who found American Horror Story through the pandemic.
Yeah, and
So for the people, it's just, I mean, honestly, you could do a whole series with just all the different people moving in and out of Murder House and what happens to them.
But if this is a thank you to fans, then all the fans would know Murder House. So it's like, so it's redundant. I don't know. I get so frustrated with Hollywood because it's like why, especially my generation. My generation is the ones that are going around constantly having to redo things that we liked before. And I always say, if you liked it so much before the first time, it's still there. It still exists. Murder House is still there. You can watch Murder House anytime you want to, and it's still unique. It's still original for what it was. Why then, when we're diving into a new show, do we have to watch Murder House told a different way? If I want to watch Murder House, I'll watch Murder House.
But it's not. It's told now, and all the things that have happened since then.
If we took these Mean Girl story, we took this Ruby story, this revenge, even the love story at the end, but the one person came back once a year to be there for all that's fine. All that's, it's great storytelling. Tell it in a different
environment. And that girl was
tell it in a different time frame.
Scarlet, oh my God.
There's a million haunted houses you could have told again. There's a million places and destinations and time frames and centuries that you could have told that story in the most beautiful, unique way. But no, we have to tell it for something that pulls at our heartstrings that we remember.
Also, too,
but it's still there. We can go back and look at that all the time.
For me, it was deja vu all over again.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Why do we have to have deja vu when we're watching new TV or new movies or reading a new book? You want to, because like think about when we go back to Murder House, watching that first season, how fucking exciting that first season was. This is what everybody just like jumped on board. You know, the hardcore fan of this first like 2 or 3 seasons, you know, that was so, every time we got a new season, we knew it was going to be something so original and so unique, and we had no idea what the hell we were expecting. We sat glued to our TV week after week. That wasn't this.
That's not what this is supposed to be. That's not what this is supposed to be.
But that's not what even American Horror Story has become now.
And American Horror Story is even like the characters, because the characters are good. The characters are really good.
Well, and that's the whole point. I mean,
I think they're great characters. I just wish they were told
absolutely, Raven. I definitely think Tate and Violet were Scarlet and Ruby. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all redone. Of course.
And I think it wasn't supposed to be like where you're on your seat for 8 hours. You're like, what's going to happen here and what's going to happen now? I love that it took you through a story, and it's a twisted story with lots of hot people and lots of sex. Because hello.
But every single part of that twisted story was told before. Mm-hmm. We got the sex before. We got the whole, you know, the debauchery and the cheating and the you know, the unspoken love and the suicide.
Story to me was completely different.
I know, because we got that through Violet.
No, because she
was more of a Tate character. She was
another Violet.
No, she's a sociopath.
Oh wait,
she's setting herself up to be a serial killer.
Yeah, but we still got the sense of the live girl living in the house with the dead people and trying to figure out if she's dead or she's alive.
House, and that's how the world works in Murder House.
But I hear what you're saying, Di. I can see both sides of it. I can see the fan service. I personally have never liked fan service. I don't like deja vu entertainment. So that's, you know, obviously my opinion was going to be that way.
A whole series like this, but I think to kind of start it off,
we're going back to Murder House again in this series because we know from the previews we saw the Infantada, we saw, you know, we know the twins filmed. We saw back of their heads.
Yeah, we saw just enough.
But they're there. They filmed.
We already saw the Infantada.
We saw the Infantada in the preview. So
we're
going back to Murder.
We saw
another psych session. We saw another psych session with some other people, you know, sitting there on psychs talking about how dangerous the house was and both. So we're not done with Murder House. So again, it's like, is this going to be the show that was supposed to be these original anthologies? I don't think so.
See here. I don't know. DRT. Let's see what everybody says in the comments. So I think Debbie liked it. I think B is good with it.
She says Scarlet was fantastic. I'm not saying I didn't like the character. She was.
That's really right. Yeah, I keep saying that. The characters, the story, everything is fine.
And Raven, I definitely felt that, but I mean, I didn't. It was just nice to. I don't know. I liked it. I mean, I don't have any. You know, it's not like it has to be some big, huge, epic thing all the time. I loved that. I mean, he did such detail in the fact that he took Ruby, and it didn't say when she died, but you know it was in the 90s because it looks like she was wearing her mother's clothes. They even had her in the bathtub, just like the Freedom video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like those little things. I thought it was really cool.
But do we even know what time frame this was? Do we know that this
is supposed to
pre
be
or
now.
post Tate? Was it supposed to be now?
Yeah.
Apparently. They never, although they didn't.
Yeah, because they were live streaming the sex stuff.
Yeah,
so this time frame.
They live streamed.
That's the whole point, is that it's filling in the gap by telling because I'm sure there's a million stories you can tell of people, and it just goes to show when you go in that house, whether Scarlett was a little sick and twisted to begin with, it just brought all this twistedness in her out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had this horrible, I mean, he gave them backstories. He gave them reasons for doing what they were doing. I like that it was a complete story instead of just leaving a bunch of things up to the only thing I don't like about American Horror Story is all leaving to what you think it's going to be. This is what it was. So I didn't have to guess, and I didn't have to wait for 4 hours and then get an answer that wasn't satisfying.
Yeah, it's because we've seen it before, but at the same time, it's like, did it really just open ended? You know, beginning, middle, and end? Because it's like now we are sitting here questioning, you know, what time frame this is in, and you know,
there was
what were these people doing
at all? Just you could tell by how they were, the girls in the high school and everything. You could totally tell it was now.
And I'm just wondering, if we're going to stay in Murder House or if we're going to go somewhere else.
Oh, thank you, Raven. At the end, her license plate said 2020. Her license plate said 2022.
Okay.
On the car.
So yeah.
So see, if you're going to do this, I mean, I do like
people do that. They embarrass people. They live stream. We see people
kill
themselves. I mean, it's very relevant.
They could have done that whole live stream story in just a regular setting in town, you know, to anywhere. That was great. That story, that
but they couldn't have them come back and try to kill them and have Ruby have to, just like they threw in the piggy guy. I mean, he was just putting in his characters. They're his. He created them. He can do what he wants.
Yes, fan service. That's all it is.
And I'm a fan.
But the thing about fan service like this is if you're just going to lightly sprinkle, then that's all. Everybody who likes that fan service, who likes to deal with that, you know, starts opening up all those questions. You know, it's like, well, where was Tate during all this, and where was Dr. Harmon during all this?
And here's the interesting thing: I thought they saw a picture.
Notice they talked about the other therapists, so you know who that is.
Oh yeah, I love how they gave a nod to Ben.
Mm-hmm. But what how did this affect from Apocalypse and killing Michael and the time reset and all that stuff?
The Apocalypse thing was on a total. He explained it. It was a total different universe, alternate universe. You're a big Avengers guy. It's all in an alternate universe.
Well, they said Apocalypse is an alternate universe.
When did he say that? Because
because when everybody was firing these questions at him, how it could change everything, he's like, Apocalypse is completely different. That's why the Rubber Man can be there, because he was a supernatural entity. And I'd have to go back and look, but even if it wasn't, it just reset itself. It was like
the reset is fine.
Like Dallas when Bobby took a shower.
Yeah, Bobby's in the shower the whole time. It's all a dream. It's all a dream.
But much better.
and it was just as hated in the 80s too. But there were some good storylines they had to drop too from that. Anyway, I'm a huge Dallas fan, so don't get me started. Huge Dallas fan. No, it's just again. Like I said,
it was fine. The thing is, what I think we have to see.
I'm just like,
is how it goes. I think that this is not supposed to be so digging in serious.
If they give us,
I know there's zombies on the horizon. I think they're going to be funny zombies. I don't think it's going to be a serious zombie thing.
Wait. Let's talk on that. The tone of this was completely different from those trailers. Those trailers, the first thing that I got from those trailers was like, holy shit, this is going to be really dark. And this is going to be really almost kind of uncomfortable. It gives you that almost kind of uncomfortable feeling to watch. The tone was really light.
It's really interesting because I was talking to my mic and I said, am I desensitized to the blood, the gore, and the intensity from watching so much American Horror Story that I didn't get how sick and twisted these characters really were? I mean, the girl liking the porn and being that. I think that we're already expecting, we've already seen vampires and witches and freak shows and all this really intense stuff. So for people like us, I'm just wondering if we're just a little too how much more are we going to get?
Yeah, put B's comment back up there. Put B's back up there because that was a really good comment. And I totally agree with that. I'm completely on board with that. That if this series opens up to more episodes that are original and stuff, I'll be all over this. And I like the fact that B just said that this being true American Horror Story, and to remind people who aren't like big fans of us that what this is. I mean, they even used the original credits, which I was like shocked. I was like, holy hell, this is the original credits. It felt like they did make us feel that this was American Horror Story, not some spin-off, not some anything, that this was American Horror Story. So they did their job there, that was just the opener for the season. It's a long season.
I'm looking forward.
It's a very long season. 16 episodes is a long season for a streaming network. So it's they've got 14 more episodes to completely change.
Too, I mean, I know it shouldn't matter, but they started doing all this before everyone was vaccinated.
It's true, there's that fact too, that they got to wrap something up.
I mean,
together
I've
quickly.
watched other shows that I could tell, like Lucifer is one of them. They're always outside. They're never outside in Lucifer. I think that also the filming of this was right on the cusp of when everyone was starting to get vaccinated and all the different rules. So I think as we get more into it, maybe they're allowed to be. This one I didn't notice as much, but I've seen other shows that were done, and they were done well, but where people are alone a lot. And they're more stretched out. Now this one, I mean, everybody was kissing, whatever. But this is the first time for them for how long?
Well, what was refreshing for me, and I'll say it, I'm sorry. What was so refreshing to me was to watch new TV that didn't mention COVID, that didn't have a damn mask on, that it felt like real TV again. Black Widow was the same. When we saw Black Widow, it was no mask and no COVID talk. Every trying to incorporate that in TV was just getting so old, so fast.
The Handmaid's Tale, they didn't do that either, but it's a different plane.
Yes, yeah. So it was nice to see that. It was nice to see a modern day, supposedly taking place right now, without any of that mess to remind us, all of that. So, and
I think that we're going to start seeing that now and into the fall. We just, we're just now getting back up on our feet again. So considering that this was the first time back to the plate, I didn't mind that it was a little kind of tongue in cheek. Like, yes, we know, but I mean the characters he picked. I mean. Crawford's kid. I mean, Kaya Gerber is 19.
Well, the cast that he has,
and the girl that played Scarlet, she's so to like all of a sudden spring that she's doing master and servant porn. Oh my god, that is like. So it just goes to show you the house is still drawing from.
Paris Jackson looks amazing, by the way.
She looks
great.
Her eye. I mean, and she played the mean girl. I mean, I think that the actors in this all did very well.
Oh, the casting is always great for starting. They always do a really good job.
So nice to see. And, he could have thrown a couple of people maybe in. I mean, yes, me, Matt Bomber.
Well, I was waiting for, I hate the connections and I hate the twist. I hate all that bullshit. But I was actually waiting for it, and I was actually kind of disappointed that we didn't get something this time. Because like with her in the car at the end and all just up is very, very Allie via Cult. And I was waiting for that connection. That was the connection I was waiting for, because I thought this is going to go right into that whole the end of Cult.
Well, who knows? We have 14 more episodes.
That's where I was waiting all episode, or the second. That's where I was thinking this was going. I mean, it had that feel. It had that, even her look. All of that was like. That's what I was like. Okay, if this is a big old surprise with that, I'll be like, all right, kudos, guys. Because that was a storyline they never revisited. But
however, we don't know if they're actually going to go back to Murder House or whether they're going to move forward with a different story with.
Well, the next one is everybody in the comments is saying, I think the next one is the one about the drive-in.
Stranded at the drive-in. Branded a fool.
It's either the third one or the fourth one.
There's the one with the pregnant woman, which I guess Billy Lord must have done when she was pregnant. Talk about homage. And then the one about the drive-in, and the one about Curdy phone. Or excuse me. My brain.
You're right.
The one with Cody Fern and the zombies.
Yeah, because Naomi Grossman is in the drive-in episode. I know that for.
See, that's promising. That sounds really promising to me.
Yeah.
A drive-in episode with this or a zombie. All that sounds like really, really, really what they promised us.
Don't forget Danny Trejo as Santa.
Well, that's going back to Asylum, so that's going to be rehashed. But that's a story that we want to hear, though. That's a side character for a story that really did never get fleshed on. So if you're gonna do that, flesh those characters out. That's fine.
Right.
That's okay.
But I think he just wanted to start saying we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the credits. Here's some really twisted people.
Mm-hmm.
And Murder House is still bringing out the worst in everyone.
Yeah, see, and like what,
I mean,
what B said,
even a nod to Marcy, how she buried her bones in the backyard with Moira.
Well, we could do an Easter egg video on this. I mean, there was a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was
a whole
tons
bunch.
of them.
And if people want to see it, we can. We'll do the work and do an Easter egg. But
I think that he was just kind of doing that on purpose because he wrote this. You know, there's a lot of other people that write, but I look at Brad, and he wrote the first episode, and Brad wrote the second one, the second episode by himself.
So I'll take it if with what B was saying, if that was really the intention, or even if that's what we took from the intention, they wanted everybody to know that this was real, true American Horror Story, and we were back, and I'll take it. I'll accept it. I'll go into the rest of the series with open mind. But I hope we're not watching 16 episodes of fan service. I really hope not.
No, I really think that this was his way. What do I know? You know, this is his creep show. This is his creep show. This is his.
Yeah, see,
this is his Twilight Zone.
I'm trying to think,
but he's trying to start a familiar territory because he knows everybody's been waiting for 2 bloody years.
Yeah,
and 1984 was so off track.
Mm-hmm.
I love
that he's getting back into the vein of the other shows. To me, 1984 to me was fine as a separate entity. I don't like it as a part of American Horror Story as a body. I need to hear that creaking, man. I need to hear that creepy shit.
Don or Debbie, you guys may know. In Creepshow, did he do something similar in Creepshow with doing a familiar characters in Creepshow? Steve King.
Oh gosh,
did he do something like
back.
this? Did he do something like this is true Stephen King universe, and then told his original stories, or was all his stuff original?
All of his stuff was original.
I mean, I just remember the meteor shit and Adrian Barbeau and the creature and the guy in the water and Ted Danson in the water.
Well, see, that's what I want.
A really long time.
I really want this series to be their creep show. I want this to be, really, really their short stories, their thing. And short stories to me, like what King has always been a master about, is King has told original short stories that were encompassed and they're 60 pages or 30 pages or whatever it was, and then you moved on and never looked back.
This was classic Ryan Murphy, hot guys,
well, I'm hoping deep that
characters.
Well, it was.
Debbie says all based on his stuff.
Yeah.
All of Creepshow was based on his different stories.
Yeah, Stephen King's stuff is always original. He doesn't try to rehash.
No, but Debbie says Creepshow is based on his other stories.
Yeah,
I have to look at it.
Am I right, Deb?
But those are original stories from him.
Yeah, but if they're saying in
right, but
places,
Creepshow was
Brian's doing the same thing.
When he incorporated into Creepshow, Debbie's saying is from his other books and things.
Yeah. And if that's what
kind of like
what
Ryan's doing with Murder House here.
I will put this way above Apocalypse and even 1984 to a degree. So I'm happy with that. I think it was a better story. It was a better production. It was kind of typical Ryan back on track. We'll see what the future holds when he hands it off to somebody else.
I mean,
Apocalypse for me was at the bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry. But...
Apocalypse is not even on the list. It's utter crap. It's garbage TV. It's absolute garbage TV.
I didn't mind it at all. I definitely, everybody has, to me, the bottom was Roanoke. I couldn't stand even watching it.
I love Roanoke.
Oh, the Roanoke's a different story. It's so original.
Is great.
So Sarah looks like a reverend in the promo shots for AHS. That's a King story too. Yes, Di. So the one with Ted Danson. So Creepshow, according to Debbie, because she knows about this way more than me, all his little snippet stories were all based on King's stories. He reiterated them in Creepshow.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was looking at here. Going back to what B was saying, talking about how this is to familiarize, to make sure everybody's cemented that this is a American Horror Story universe, real deal, just like King would do with Creepshow. This is a Stephen King, real deal. Then I can accept that. Then I can go for that. But let's not do 16 episodes of it.
I don't think they're going to. I mean, Just
Yeah,
in the
just
little snippets that we've seen, they're all over the place.
Yeah, that's great too.
I think he's going to do a Bloody Mary. I think he's going to do.
Well, that goes back to the tease that we got about urban legends. If we're going into like Bloody Mary, we're going to kind of so maybe this is our.
There was a thing where it says, "I believe in you, I believe in you." I don't know if that's Santa Claus or Bloody Mary, but
Santa Claus.
Who knows? Maybe the pig is going to show up. Maybe these were little things that are going to, who knows? I don't think he wants to tie them together. I hope not. Usually we think he's going the whole roundabout way. And usually it's like, no, those weren't other people and witches. It was just the witches. They just came back. We always like to do I call it the Star Trek, where they're like going back to William Shatner and asking all these like drawn out questions about why you did everything. He's like, no. It's really just like as plain as the thing on your nose.
That's what I wanted. That's what I'm so set on is just something new.
My other thought was that maybe he would tie up some storylines that he doesn't want to cover an entire season and just do it in one episode so that we have answers that we're asking for. Because how he,
he's just doing, this show, other than the one tonight, I have a feeling if the other shows moving forward, you won't have to be an American Horror Story fan to watch them.
Yeah, that's what I thought this was going to be. I thought it was new and original. You didn't have to make the connections. You didn't have to be there.
You knew it was Murder House. It's called Rubber Woman, for God's sake. We all knew it was going to go. We all knew this was coming. It wasn't like it was a surprise.
Maybe that was also what set me off about these first two episodes is, why do they keep going to this Rubber Man crap? It doesn't make any sense. It was cool for what it was in the confines of American Horror Story of season 1.
Just like they keep going. It
was a really cool story with the whole thing with the trash, and they found him, and Tate was able to rape Vivian with that, and that was the whole extent of the Rubber Man. And then all of a sudden, the Rubber Man became this super entity and became the symbol of the American Horror Story, and became it became larger than what it was ever intended to be, and now it just like doesn't make sense. So it's like with if they would have left Rubber Man alone to just be what it was in Horror Story, then by her picking that up from the trash in this episode would have been okay, and then her taking the costume out to to go murder the guy would have been okay. But this whole thing about burning the suit and everybody else showing up the suit, now it's a superhero. Now it's a thing. Leave it alone. It was good for what it was.
Well, I think it was true because I always thought, because of Apocalypse, that I never understood who was actually in it, and there was someone with her. Obviously, it's really just maybe the house, but it's just supernatural.
It wasn't even the murder house, though. In Apocalypse, it was a freaking bunker that the damn thing showed up in.
It's like they just threw him in there.
It's like they're using it as its own, as American Horror Story's own villain or its own creature, and like become a symbol that they've never explained, that it doesn't. Well, make
it's just
sense.
Okay. Just like I know not to get off the thing, but in The Handmaid's Tale, there's a character, and everybody goes, well, that character is kind of one who pivots everybody to different places. It's Bradley Whitford's character. Actually, he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Without him there, the things that happen do not end up happening, and they're like, he shouldn't be there, kind of thing. But that's what storytelling. It's not for us. It's their creation. We either like it, we don't. And I honestly think that since this is just a starting point, that we're just gonna see what happens. I think that for like the new people who just discovered AHS over COVID, because a lot of people started watching it because there's 9 seasons, 10 seasons.
I expected something different. That's all I'm saying.
I thought it was Michael too, Raven. I always thought it was Michael in the suit, but they say that his build was different, and I think that even the
I don't think they have an answer. I don't think they have an answer who's in the suit.
And like B said earlier, he's just this supernatural entity. I mean,
that's what they want to make him. That's what they want to make Rubberman. They want to make him that supernatural enemy. They want to make him the American Horror Story villain, and that's fine if you just roll with it. But it creates discussions like this, creates conversations like this. Who was he? Why is he there? I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Supernatural entity, and he did say that.
Yeah.
So that's his creation, and he started it, and he can do what he wants.
It's the reason why they like it. I think the reason why they like Rubberman so much, and have continued to, throw him in there, and now they're like really doubling down on, is it's a great image for posters. It's a great image for trailers. You got this all black. It's also
a darkness. You don't really know who's in there. Yeah. It can almost speak to everybody that has the part of them that's like that.
And it's like they could leave it alone, or they could explain it more. But if they would have introduced him differently in Murder House, they could have really gone for. But what it was in Murder House.
But I don't think they thought that far down.
Of course they didn't. No, of course they didn't. So that's why you run that risk when you take a character or something
like
from
I said,
the first
I think
season.
This is just supposed to be like taking it for like what it is.
It's a visual. Is always what it is. That's why they're using it. It's a visual.
And just remember, everybody's going to have their own opinion on it.
Absolutely. And we want to know, everybody who's watching this after it's midnight. So it's midnight. It's at 1 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock, depending on where you are. Dawn and I really lucked out because they showed it at 9 o'clock Pacific time. Yep. So we got really lucky. Michael was a little more lucky. That's why Miss Melinda's asleep, because it's 3 o'clock in the freaking morning. But we are late night snacks. And you guys know we stream whenever we want.
I will say it is good to have the show back. Yeah. And this feels like the show is back. It feels like, I mean, even though this is supposed to be a little spinoff, it was, the opening credits. That was the best part of the whole damn thing. The opening credits played, and I was like, yeah, whoa.
And it was all rubber.
As soon as the music started, it was like, oh, I'm home.
Well, and I guess that's called, I looked that up earlier. It's called a nervous creaking or something like that. There's actually a thing that's that, because that's also in what other show? That's in another show. Oh, it's in Kill Bill.
I had closed captioning on it, and it said that, but I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's Kill Bill.
Oh, I know it is.
Bill goes to kill people. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Tarantino. Kill Bill is like one of my favorite. I've watched that like 30 times. Twisted Nerve. Thank you, Debbie.
I did have a question.
What?
We heard Addie in this episode, did we not?
Who?
When we saw the twins? Addie.
No.
Yeah, Adelaide.
Oh, yeah. Her voice played back a little bit.
She didn't die in that house.
Did just enough, like showing the infantata, showing Rose
Ball. She didn't
die in the house.
She can't do that. She didn't die in the house. She died.
Maybe, I would have to go back and watch it again.
Her spirit's supposed to go beyond. And we heard her very clearly when they showed the twins.
One who didn't die in the house. And notice when they killed Michael didn't die in the house either, so he can't be there.
Yeah, when we heard the twins, or we saw the back of their heads or whatever, when they revived, we heard Addie say what she was saying in the beginning, that episode 1.
Well, yeah, when she was little.
When she was a little girl. And I was like, she didn't die in that house.
And even with the captions, they said it was a boy that was doing it. I'm like, you guys are so wrong.
Well, the captions.
Somebody else is doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the voice too, Deb. I'll have to go back and check it out. But honestly, at the end of the day, how important is it really?
If you're going to do fan service, you better do it right. That's all I'm saying. I will call you to it.
Come on. If they're, he's right. If they're actually,
I want to read the book that Ben and that other lady are going to do.
Who?
The psychiatrist that was in the show tonight. She referenced Ben several times, and she said they're going to write a book.
See, and that's the problem with being such a hardcore fan of this and redoing an episode like this. I knew that bitch was dead the moment they first started. When she started talking to people, I was like, she's dead.
No, they killed her in the beginning after you saw her die.
No, I didn't. I was paying attention. I did. No, after the first session.
She came in for the session and she asked to use the restroom, and then the ball came and she went to the basement and they killed her.
When they first showed her during the session, when she was asking them questions, I picked it. She was dead.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't. The very first time that she saw them, she was not dead yet.
Oh, then see, I knew she was going to be dead or whatever.
No,
it was that
the first time you saw, and it was the rubber man who killed her.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
But she followed the ball to the basement. I'm like, everybody knows in a fucking spooky house, you don't go to the goddamn basement. You don't go to the damn basement.
Every time I see the ball, it's just like
in any horror movie known to mankind, don't go.
See, I thought her death was a flashback. They were showing how she died, that she was already dead, already there. Yeah.
No, the first time she came, she was alive, and then she was dead, and then because the second time she was there, Matt Bomer's like, she just popped up. She was waiting in the home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so she died after the first one.
I thought she was just there in the house at the very, very beginning. At her session.
No, they called her.
Just there.
Because they wanted her to do a double session, and she said she had to go, and she asked to use the restroom.
Yeah, but that was while they were all sitting there.
Yeah, the first time. They were sitting there several times afterwards.
Did we see
No, they called her. They called her to come to talk about the porn that Scarlett was doing.
But
and then she said, I have to go to another session. Can I use your restroom? And that's when she got killed. So she
Well,
just she went
I
there and
guess.
never left, like everybody else that goes there.
her father told her that she was going to come to the house. So she came to the house.
No, she okay.
She had the first session with them, and then when she
But I still was like,
that's
this
when
bitch is dead. She played that character, that space that like Ben and
They never really explain what happened to Constance after the whole rewind thing in Apocalypse.
no, they didn't.
No, they did.
When? No,
Oh
no,
wait,
after the reset.
no. After the reset, yeah, you're right. They didn't.
I would imagine that Constance went out the same way, just maybe not in the murder house. She
No.
probably eventually went out the same way. People's fates are kind of destined.
I know,
Yeah.
but I think she wanted to be with her children.
Mm-hmm.
So she died. She would have died there because at the end of the day, if anyone who dies there, they can bring back anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they can do it on Halloween. It's
They
always
do that
Halloween in
because
Murder House.
Mm-hmm. See, that's what
Yep.
that's always a great story to tell, and you could even do a whole series on that if you want to do that kind of things. Every Halloween at Murder House. That's the kind of thing. Just
Yeah,
build it
that's
that
what,
way.
like I was
Just tell us
saying, you
what
could
you're gonna do.
literally take everybody who bought that house and see what happened to them and different characters. I mean,
Mhm.
that could be a whole anthology within itself. So could an asylum. So could Coven. So could a freak show.
I agree.
they're all
If you're
things in
going to
places.
if you're going to go back to Murder House, and you're going
Just
to
like
continue
not
to
the
do, if
freak
that's
show
your bread and
tonight.
butter for
Just
American
did
Horror
not do
Story,
freak show.
I'd rather see the construction of Murder House. I would rather see it all the way back to the
Yeah.
original formation. I'd rather see different time frames. It's just this felt like a complete
Oh,
redo
The
of
nurse was back.
season one.
The nurse was back from the 60s.
Yeah, I know. I saw her.
Well, yeah, she was in there a lot, getting stabbed and stuff.
That's true, Raven. To be fair, when someone dies in the AHS universe, they never really die. Just like in all the superhero movies.
But when you're
That's
dealing with
true.
ghosts, yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll
And
see.
that's
We got
why,
14 more episodes.
we'll
more months.
we'll see. I mean, based
Have
on
to
the
wait to see what
synopsis that we were able to read, that's been published, it seems like. I mean, what we got tonight, I expected. It was actually a little more twisted. I thought it was a little more twisted, and I liked the characters a lot.
Yeah, I'll give them
But I did see a picture where somebody was dressed like Tate outside the murder house, and I kind of expected Evan to flash like 2 seconds at the end, because there was a picture of someone dressed like him.
Yeah, that was when they were filming.
When they were filming, but they didn't show it in this. And I don't think Evan's supposed to be in these.
No, I think we're going back to Murder House because there was more stuff in Murder House in the trailer itself.
Yeah, we're gonna go
They
back.
Or maybe they cut it out. Who knows?
They showed the infantile in the trailer, clear as day.
I saw
They showed the infantile tonight twice.
I saw him twice.
Twice. Yeah.
Oh, see, I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I lost it after about
maybe 3
times.
times.
I was like, okay, whatever.
No, I saw him twice.
I don't know if there's a connection between Charles and Madison Montgomery, Raven. I don't know.
I'd like to see
Montgomery
that
is like
story,
being
too.
named Smith. I mean, it's pretty.
But
you got to think at some point maybe they will.
I don't think they've ever confirmed it, did they?
They were saying that he was going to do maybe a whole anthology on the witches. So who knows?
Oh God, no.
I don't think Sarah would like it.
I don't either.
No.
She's got Ratchet and too many other things to do right now.
Yeah, the whole anthology on the witches is just overboard. It's just overkill. We've got enough of them.
Yep.
Let it be done.
All right.
I'd rather see the Shoot on Freak Show. What?
Oh well, when they went out on Halloween night, there was a big thing that said Freak Show, and the guy was like blowing fire, and the people on the stilts.
No, for tonight.
There was a little bit of almost every season.
No, I'm saying if you're going to do an anthology series, do something like Freak Show.
No, well, you could do a Freak Show, you could do an asylum, you could do, you could do any of the places that he's been, pretty much.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but most of them, right? You could
here's an idea: you could do something original.
Do something
brand
original.
new characters. Hey. Brand new stories.
I think. Well,
brand new.
So Debbie said, Debbie, I agree with you.
We had brand new people. We could have had a completely different story.
Debbie said she expected it to be tamer, and so did I.
Tamer. Explain that.
That's what Debbie says. I didn't expect the characters to be as deep as they were. I just thought it was going to be like a murder house kind of ode, everybody dies slasher kind of thing.
I I thought it was light. I thought it was very light compared to
Yeah.
what the
No,
trailers.
we're
Trailers made
tainted.
me
I'm
feel that it
telling
was
you,
going
we're
to be
tainted
really
because we're
dark.
so used to the intent.
I
Tate
was
Asylum
I was
intensity.
expecting a
Yeah,
lot
see, I was thinking, I
more
was
than what we
expecting
got.
it to be more than Asylum intensity.
I
was
don't
expecting it
think
to be
any of
dark.
these stories are going to be that dark. I think it's more like the creep show vein.
Well, their trailers showed it. The feel that I got from the trailers was dark. It was really, really dark, and that's why this seemed really tame to me. So people getting the opposite reactions. Interesting.
I don't know. I thought Scarlet was pretty freaking dark, and so was Ruby.
Oh no, the
Well,
characters
they're
are
dark,
great.
sure, but it's not the tone. The tone
Yeah.
of the trailers was really dark, really, real,
I don't know. Well,
real
see,
uncomfortable kind of dark. The trailers were.
oh, I don't mean. I
This
don't
was
know.
light.
To me, zombies is not very dark. It's just
I
funny.
mean, for my opinion, basically the characters were great. Okay, it was nice to see some fresh faces because, after 10 years of American Horror Story, you're just like,
going crazy.
yeah, we finally got
At
to
some
see
point, it's gonna be.
But I'm not
Especially
saying
since he's off doing other things.
I didn't dislike it. I was expecting more. I was expecting something different than what we got. Honestly,
I wasn't because I knew they were going to Murder House, and he's off doing,
it was fine.
Yeah, Dad thought it was going to be a more family-friendly show.
Really?
Yeah, the
From that trailer?
F-bombs are dropping really fast.
From that trailer? The trailer was dark. It was like, oof, this is
I
gonna be
thought it
good.
was too. I thought it was going to be more PG rated. It was a lot to me. It was a lot more the characters, maybe just the graphicness of it. It was kind of like, you have, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I think that part of it is after we've seen so much blood, so much gore, and so much intensity between Asylum and Coven and Freak Show, that we're just kind of tainted.
Well, see, and that's the thing is that's a really good lesson on our pop culture. Nowadays, how just numb people are to that kind of level of violence and stuff. And
I've never watched a horror movie in my life before I started watching American Horror Story. I don't like horror movies. I don't want to be scared.
I would rather watch a psychological horror any day than any type of slash 'em up kind of nonsense because it's just it's overdone. I'd rather be fucked with my mind.
What hooked me was Coven with the story. It was all about the story for me, and then this just became like, yes, Boris, we hear you. For somebody who's not a horror fan, doesn't watch horror. I mean, I got hooked by the stories of them, of the people.
Yeah,
and the craziness and the over the top.
Ryan always does a good job with his characters.
I know there's another one. There's one in this series about cannibalism.
See, that's great.
They're trying to eat Cody Fern.
If they do it right, that's great.
There's cannibalism. There's zombies. There's Santa Claus, and there's a pregnant woman with a big circle like a witch.
But we always know Santa Claus is going to be
the witch is going to be Billy Lord. So I wouldn't think that one too much through. I think
the witch is going to be Billy Lord. That's going to be her character, I'm sure. You wouldn't put Billy Lord as a witch.
It's just that the woman goes too far to become pregnant, and she's standing with the big circle, and she's standing there with the candles lit and the pentagram, and it's Billy Lord.
That's going to be interesting if it's a different character, because they would take a character that played such a prominent witch.
Nick Sex, yes.
Was it?
Yeah, it did remind me a little bit of what
what'd she say?
Paulson went through.
Snake
Sex.
Oh,
like Coven.
Yeah.
Coven.
So, I think they're going to be nods. We'll see.
Nods are fine.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that so far the writers have been different.
Well, and the nice
other than these two.
That's great.
Nice
that's fantastic.
We get to come back every week and talk about all this.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
And get to see these beautiful people.
Argue about it, but
bring this new talent on.
Is in this season
I am so on board for new talent. Bring them all on. Bring the new actors on. Bring new
Absolutely.
producers on. Bring new writers on.
More that I was given. I was happy it was back. I was happy
I'll give you that.
And I was actually happy I didn't have to wait till midnight if you want to know the truth.
I'll give you that. I heard the music. I was all on board.
Handy.
I was actually giddy when I was watching it because
I was so excited to see the opening credits like that. I was like, yes, but
I know my husband thinks. Well, he already knows I'm crazy. So
you must.
I always ask him, I'm like, am I desensitized to this?
Crazy. Nuka.
Feeling so lonely.
Yep.
We're all crazy here.
Crazy.
That's why
the whole world should be a musical. Everything should break out in song at all time.
Yep.
At all times.
Just like Buffy.
Yeah, that one episode.
Yeah.
I was like, Buffy, huh? Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
right. The musical episode. A lot of shows have done a musical episode.
And just as a side note, if anybody has any really good shows, I highly recommend Halston, especially if you like the Ryan.
Mhm.
That movie was fabulous.
Is that Ryan?
Yeah.
That's Ryan. Ewan McGregor just got nominated for an Emmy, and the girl who plays Liza Minnelli is ridiculous.
I have to watch that. Yeah,
So good.
Ewan's so great. This is a long
Really
time coming
good.
for Ewan. Ewan should have won a freaking. Got nominated for an Oscar for freaking Train Spotting, but he didn't.
Really? Wow. I did. I mean, I knew that movie. That movie
Train
haunts me to
Spotting.
this day.
Yeah, Train Spotting is amazing, and that is an
But,
amazing performance.
I mean,
an absolute
Halston was
amazing performance.
great. A Handmaid's Tale this season. Holy crap!
How could you
Yeah.
watch that? Ugh.
Handmaid's Tale was.
I didn't get past the second. I didn't get past like the second episode of the second
It was
season.
hard. Ask Deb.
It's
Deb
like-
loves it too.
It
This
was
season
hard,
was so rewarding.
It's just that. Oh god!
I
It's just
think
such
the
a dark
infantile
take
was
on.
used footage, Deb.
Yeah,
Or-
it was.
yeah.
Probably
It had to be.
used
Yeah, because
for-
Ben's dead.
Ben's gone.
Just like the
so-
twins. I'm sure the twins are like,
Yeah, the
35
twins
years
are
old by now.
But they had these two boys on set. There was a picture behind the scenes with the
Maybe
twins
they
on
were
set,
using them as shadows or something.
and they sure look like those kids, but they can't be. I mean, that was 10.
No,
how many years
because
ago was
they've
that?
all aged. They've all aged, and Ben
Significantly.
Wolf is-
Yeah, those
so-
twins are
Not at
probably
the murder
shot up.
house. So,
They're
you know,
probably
maybe
like 7
they were
foot
just.
tall each.
Also, too, there was probably a lot of stuff we didn't see that they didn't use.
Of course.
Probably always.
Mhm.
So yeah, if
All right,
anybody has, we would love to hear in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear us rant every week. Come back here next week. I have to look and see what next week's episode is because we do have a little bit of an idea of the.
Nuka causes an earthquake.
That's what that is.
Yeah, it's Nuka.
Oh, that's Nuka.
Of course it is. Wouldn't be a show
Okay,
without it.
so the
But yes.
next week is the drive-in,
Yay!
and it says a
Stranded.
screening of a forbidden film.
Where's the
You
camera?
know how you watch The Ring and
Hey,
you're going to die? It's probably something like that.
Say hi.
Has
baby.
disastrous consequences.
Say hi.
Hi, baby. Hi, Nuka.
Yep, I agree. Had to see it through, Deb. Handmaids was hard, but you had to watch it through. It was very satisfying.
I ain't watching that garbage
You don't.
because that shit
It's
could happen.
It gets me out of my life for a
It's
little
scary,
So
but it could
we
be
will-
our life. That's
We'll be
scary.
back next week to talk about
bit. The drive-in.
3.
Stranded at the drive.
The drive-in, and then the 4th episode is called the Naughty List. So then
Hi.
it's Santa.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi,
Okay,
baby.
say
Hi, Nuka.
hi. He's asleep.
Oh my God, Raven! Why Women Kill is so good. It's by Mark Cherry, Desperate Housewives,
Mhm.
and it's got some of the people who were in Once Upon a Time. Snow White's in it, and the Evil Queen is in it.
Desperate
And-
Housewives, that fucks with my head, man. Oof.
I love Desperate Housewives.
because
Yeah.
I binged that. I binged Desperate Housewives every
so you
single
should
episode.
watch Why Women Kill. It's
No,
on Paramount
No, I
Plus.
can't. Hold on. I binged Desperate Housewives every
Mhm.
single episode. That very first couple weeks that I was home from.
Oh, I
hospital.
watched it as it unfolded, and I'm
and
All
it
right,
really messed with me.
yes.
All right, everybody. We're going to call it a night now because it is getting late. And we're kind of going
That's so
off.
funny, Deb. John Waters. I love John Waters.
Oh, me too.
But it just said that a movie you're not supposed to watch has consequences. So I'm thinking it's one of those like snuff murder movies or
Yeesh.
like The Ring where you watch it and 7 days later you're going to die or some bullshit. I don't know. I
like
didn't
no
watch it.
stuff garbage. It's crazy. Hey,
Mm.
okay.
All right, guys.
Bye.
So we'll see what happens. Thank you for being with us. You guys have a good evening and we will see you next week.
You're getting
Bye, guys.
sleepy.